Myths and legends die hard in America. We love them for the extra dimension that they provide, the illusion of near infinite possibility to erase the narrow confines of most men's reality. Weird heroes and mold-breaking champions. They serve as living proof for those who need it that the tyranny of the rat race is not yet final. These are the words of Hunter S. Thompson, and he so eloquently articulates this idea of the power of characters, which is going to be my topic of conversation today. Now, character as a word has several definitions. I'm going to be focusing on two. The first is a mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual. The second is a person in a novel, play, or a movie. Now, for our purposes today, I'm going to be combining these two definitions to mean a unique and distinctive individual that exists in the movie of our everyday lives. Now, I'm fascinated by characters for a couple of reasons. The first reason is my work with Mutineer Magazine. We use characters as a vehicle to tell stories to connect our readers, our audience, with wine, beer, and spirits culture. The other reason I'm fascinated with characters is because as the magazine got to be a little bit more successful, I started doing more public appearances, more speaking engagements, and as I did this, people started to create a character for me in ways that I hadn't really considered before. Now, I'm naturally a pretty shy person. I'm also extremely awkward, a term I like to call shockward. And my reaction to all this is it made me very anxious. And as we got more successful, my inclination was to pull back, was to strip away the emotion from how I communicate and do this in an effort to try and be more professional as a communicator. And what I found is it had the opposite effect of what I was trying to achieve. My communication style is what had helped connect me with people in the first place. And by removing that, it made it much more difficult to connect because emotion is the language of the human condition. Love, hate, happiness, sadness, fear, betrayal, loyalty, anxiety, hope, all of these things, it's what separates man from beast. And to take that away, it takes away the very fundamental thing that allows us to connect with each other as humans. Now, that can be directly in a conversation with another person or indirectly through correspondence, social media, or even our products. So I wanted to take a look at a couple of people who found success, unlikely success, through using their character to empower their ideas. The good doctor himself, Hunter S. Thompson, he was a writer in the 60s. He always wanted to be a fiction writer, but he could never find work. So he started writing as a journalist. And what he did that revolutionized mainstream journalism is he went from objective to subjective. And he inserted his character into his writing as a means of creating an emotional connection with the reader in pursuit of the truth. In his obituary, New York Times, they wrote, "He was better known for his hard-driving lifestyle and acerbic eye for truth, which he used in the style of first-person reporting, where the usually anonymous reporter becomes a central character in the story, a conduit of subjectivity." Now, before him, emotion wasn't only frowned upon in journalism, it was forbidden. So for him to take the step really was a big leap, and we can see that style of connecting resonating today with someone like Jon Stewart. Again, one of the most influential men in the country through his work on what is really a comedy program, but what he's been able to do is, in pursuit of that truth, using his character, using his emotion, he's been able to get closer to the truth than objective journalism. In the American Journalism Review, Stewart and his team often seem to steer closer to the truth than traditional journalists. Has our slavish devotion to journalism fundamentals, particularly our obsession with objectivity, so restricted news organizations that a comedian can tell the public what's going on more effectively than a reporter? Oh, yes. So, is it possible that somebody could master the character devices so well without having any discernible skill set that they could rise to unimaginable heights of success? And the answer is yes, it is possible. Now, Kim Kardashian did not get to where she is by playing video games all day. Believe me, I've tried it. It does not work at all. She is very intelligent and very hardworking, but it's her character that propelled her to her level of success that she's at. Yet, Professor Cameron Anderson, UC Berkeley School of Business, says Kim Kardashian's success could be in part due to the fact that human beings are fascinated by confident individuals even when their confidence is unjustified. So that's just a couple of examples how using an authentic character can propel your ideas forward. Now, we are in Napa Valley. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about wine. That's my background. And I think wine culture went through a similar kind of identity crisis that I did, except they went through it in the 1980s. And they scaled back, they pulled back, they stripped the emotion, and you are left with 89 points. Smells like mocha, pickleberries, and a rustic sense of flowers. And we all wonder why it's so hard to connect with wine culture. There's nothing to connect with. We've tried to provide the answer key. We've tried to take the experience out of it and just help people not screw up when they make their buying decisions. For the record, I rate the rating system itself a 74 with strong whiffs of Bengay milk toast, wet dish rag, and utter irrelevance. Drink never and purchase only as a novelty gift. Now, compare that to a film like Sideways, where you do create characters and you do create an emotional connection. That film comes out, a fictional film. Pinot Noir goes through the roof. Merlot goes down into the dumps. And it's all through characters. You watch that movie, you want to feel something about a wine the way the character Miles does in Pinot Noir, and he's talking about it and how these flavors are the most ancient flavors on the planet. You don't want to die without having experienced that for yourself. And that goes way beyond the number. You want to look to beer. Who's connecting? Who's creating the connection? This guy right here, the most interesting man in the world. Go into a college campus and ask kids if they know who all these brewers are. No, but they know who this guy is. So we know that it's possible to create connections around these cultures that have traditionally been more difficult to create connections around. It's just the culture hasn't really caught up yet. So how does this apply to us? Orson Scott Card, legendary science fiction writer, what he did is he put together a book called Characters and Viewpoint, where he created a list of key character attributes that exist for characters that we love and characters that we hate. And what this does is these fictional character devices give us an additional lens to kind of look at these character ideas through. And I want to share with you the list that he put together. Physical attractiveness. You don't have to be physically attractive, but you do need to take stock in how you present yourself. Altruism. Much harder to do in real life because things that are actually altruistic go unnoticed. Plan and purpose, hunger and dreams. What are you doing and why are you doing it? Have a plan. Don't react to things in your life. Drive your own story and help people understand and connect with your passion. Courage and fair play. Be brave and play fair. Or rather, don't be a coward and don't cheat. There's a reason why in the old Westerns, the good guy always lets the bad guy draw his gun first. Attitude. How do you treat others, yourself, and events that happen for good or bad? Draftee or volunteer. In the pursuit of glory, be drafted. In the absence of glory, volunteer. Dependability. The good guy always does what he says he's going to do. Cleverness. Be clever, but don't be an intellectual. Enduring perfections. To be perfect is impossible. Therefore, it's unbelievable. Therefore, it's unrelatable. Embrace your quirks because they make you who you are. Characters that we hate. Sadist or bully. Being an emotional bully is a surefire way to be hated, and I'm surprised at how much emotional bullying takes place on social media like Facebook, especially between competitors professionally. You know, just because you're justified or right, it doesn't take away the effect that it has on people that see that. Assassin, do not murder anybody. This is purely for fiction. Self-serving, self-appointed, do not be an interloper just because you can. Oathbreaker, talking too much is a great way to become the villain. Intellect, again, be clever, don't be an intellectual. Insanity, if you don't subscribe to the same rational rules as everyone else, they will not be friends with you. And attitude, it's so important that he put it in twice. Be nice to yourself, be nice to others, and always have a positive attitude no matter what happens. Thank you very much.